There is a feeling you know well. Everything is fine. Nothing is wrong. The day is ordinary. The people around you are safe. The world is not on fire. And yet somewhere, just beneath the surface of all that calm, something hums. A low, persistent signal. A quiet readiness for disaster that nobody asked for and nobody can fully explain. You might call it anxiety. You might call it dread. You might call it nothing at all, because it is so familiar, it has stopped feeling
like anything other than the background noise of being alive. But it is not background noise. It is a message. And it is ancient. To understand why your brain defaults to unease, even when your life is objectively fine, you have to understand something fundamental about how the human mind was built. Your brain was not designed for the world you live in. It was designed for a world that no longer exists. A world where the quiet moment was often the most dangerous one. Where stillness meant something was watching. Where the absence of threat was not safety. It was the pause before attack. Neuroscientist Joseph LeDoux at New York University spent decades mapping the brain's fear architecture. What he found reshaped how scientists understand anxiety. The brain, LeDoux discovered, runs two parallel systems for processing potential threats. The first is fast, subcortical, automatic, firing before conscious thought can intervene. It takes a rough sensory pattern, matches it to anything that has ever been threatening, and fires a full alarm response in milliseconds. The second is slow, cortical, deliberate, capable of nuance and context. It is the system that, after the alarm has fired, reassesses the situation and says, actually, that was just the wind. The critical detail is this. The fast system always fires first. And it fires at shadows. It fires at ambiguity. It fires at the unknown, the unfamiliar, the slightly off. It does not wait for evidence. It does not require proof. It treats the possibility of danger as equivalent to danger itself. Because in the ancestral environment, that asymmetry kept you alive. The cost of a false alarm was a racing heart. The cost of missing a real threat was death. Your brain learned over millions of years that false alarms are cheap, missed threats are fatal. So it fires constantly, at everything, just in case. This is what psychologists call negativity bias, and it runs deeper than most people realize. Psychologist Roy Baumeister at the University of Queensland conducted a landmark review of negativity bias research and found that across virtually every domain of human psychology, memory, learning, social judgment, emotional response, negative information carries more weight than positive information of equal intensity. A single bad experience leaves a deeper trace than a single good one. A single harsh criticism lands harder than a single compliment. A single moment of danger is remembered more vividly and more accurately than a single moment of joy. This is not a personality flaw. This is engineering. The brain built a filing system where threats get copied into multiple locations, cross-referenced, and flagged for priority retrieval. Good experiences get filed once, stored adequately, retrieved occasionally. Bad experiences get replicated across the system, linked to environmental cues, bodily sensations, specific times of day, specific smells, specific sounds. Your brain does not want you to forget what almost killed you, so it makes sure you cannot. And here is where it gets specific to modern life. Your nervous system evolved in a world where the threats were physical, immediate, and resolvable. A predator was there or it was not. A rival tribe was approaching or it was not. The threat had a shape, a location, a timeline. You could fight it, flee from it, or wait for it to pass. The stress response activated, the threat resolved, the stress response shut down. The system cycled. But the threats you live with now have no shape. They have no location.
They cannot be fought or fled. Financial uncertainty does not have a body you can outrun. Social rejection does not have a definite moment of resolution. The news delivers an endless stream of distant disasters that your ancient alarm system cannot distinguish from immediate personal danger.
The result is a nervous system that activates and never fully cycles down. A stress response that runs on low power continuously because the threat never quite resolves. Psychologist Martin Seligman at the University of Pennsylvania, who spent his early career studying learned helplessness and later pioneered the field of positive psychology, observed something quietly devastating. The human capacity for imagination, the ability to project yourself into possible futures, which is one of your greatest evolutionary advantages, is also the engine of chronic anxiety. You can feel afraid of things that have not happened. You can rehearse disasters that may never occur. You can lie in bed at 3 a.m. and run threat simulations against scenarios that exist only in the architecture of your own mind. No other animal does this. A gazelle that escapes a lion does not spend the following night replaying the attack and catastrophizing about future lions. It grazes. The fear system activates. The threat passes. The system resets. But you, with your extraordinary prefrontal cortex, your mental time travel, your capacity for narrative and abstraction, you can sustain a threat response for years against enemies that exist only as possibilities. This is the price of imagination. This is the tax your species pays for being able to plan, prepare, and anticipate. The same cognitive machinery that lets you build cities and write symphonies and imagine the lives of people who have not yet been born also lets you lie awake constructing elaborate catastrophes out of incomplete information.
And the modern world does not help. Evolutionary psychologist Randolph Nesse at Arizona State University proposed what he calls the smoke detector principle. A smoke detector, he argues, is calibrated to produce many false alarms because the cost of a missed fire is catastrophic and the cost of a false alarm is merely annoying. Natural selection calibrated your anxiety system the same way. It would rather you feel afraid 100 times unnecessarily than miss the one time the fear was warranted. But a smoke detector calibrated for a world of open fires and genuine daily danger does not work well in an environment of symbolic threats, information overload, and social comparison at scale. The alarm fires at the news. It fires at the email you have not answered. It fires at the comment someone left that could mean 2 different things. It fires at the silence after you said something and were not sure how it landed. It fires at the gap between where you are and where you think you should be. It fires because it was built to fire, because the alternative was extinction. So what do you do with this? The first thing is to name it accurately. That hum of low-level unease you carry is not weakness. It is not a malfunction. It is a 2-million-year-old early warning system running in an environment it was never designed for. The dread you feel on a perfectly ordinary afternoon is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that something is working exactly as designed in entirely the wrong context. The second thing is to understand what feeds it. The nervous system cannot distinguish between a real threat and a vivid imagined one. Every time you rehearse a disaster scenario in enough detail, you activate the same physiological response as if the disaster were occurring. The body does not know you are only imagining. It responds to the narrative. So the stories you tell yourself, especially the ones you tell at 3 a.m, are not neutral. They are inputs. They are read by an ancient system that takes them at face value. And the third thing is to notice the frequency. Not to fight it, not to argue with it, just to notice that the alarm is firing again, that it fires often, that most of the time, what it is responding to is not a lion in the grass, but a thought in your own head. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not uniquely anxious in a way that sets you apart from other people. You are a highly sophisticated prediction machine, running ancient threat detection software in a world that has changed faster than evolution can follow. The hum you feel is not the sound of something going wrong. It is the sound of a system that kept your ancestors alive, still doing its job long after the original danger has passed.